Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 3 p.m. here in New Vienna. That means it is time for another live stream. And happy Friday to everybody. It has been a long week. It has been a crazy week. And we made it. We made it. My daughter's school pretty much ends. She usually has something, one last like elective type of like fun activity at 2:45 to 3:15 with her school, but that's pretty much like the end of the day for her. So she's pretty much at the end of the day. I'm and then the end of the week now. I'm at the end of the week, and I feel like I got a decent amount of like preschoolish type of enrichment and stimulation for the baby. So I'm feeling pretty good about the day. How are you guys doing today? We've got Philip Bourne in here, Steve, Meredith Roseman, Frank LaHoulier. We've got Not Really Hank Aaron, and CJ Cruz, Terrence Huey, Ryan Pauly, Not Really Hank Aaron. Not Really Hank Aaron wants to know if I'm going to mention Trump. I'll touch on that in just a second, since you're kind of asking, I guess. Let's see. Jody says, good day, everyone. Chris Yao, JC. What's going on, everybody? I am doing well, but I've got not coffee today. I'm going with, I just got some noon in the tumbler here. Rumbler? What do they call this thing? It's a Yeti thing. I think they call it the Rumbler. I don't know. It's a quality vessel. I like it because I generally have like a cup that I just don't wash. Like I wash maybe like once a week, and I'll just kind of keep refilling it with stuff. But it's been hard to do that here because my in-laws are really good at like cleaning up like the dishes and stuff. So even if I'll set like a drink or a cup to the side because I want to use it again, it just disappears the next time I go reach for it. But they leave this one alone. So I'm going on like 6 or 7 days without having washed this, and it tastes a little bit like coffee, a little bit like chocolate shake, like recovery shake, and a little bit like noon. It kind of works for me. But yeah, so a couple of things of bad news happening in the world today. First, I'll talk about Trump because I went to bed really early yesterday. I was exhausted, and I was still so tired this morning that I didn't put out a video. I've been trying to get it done, but I didn't. I usually film like the talk. I've been trying to get into a rhythm where I film the talking portion of the video like the night before. That way in the morning I can just edit it. But yesterday I was just so tired. I went to bed like at 8:15 or something like that, and then I filmed the talking part in the morning. I thought maybe I'd have enough time to get it all done, but I didn't have enough time to get it all done. So I didn't get the video done because I woke up, like I had the alarm set for 4 or something, which is my usual. But then I slept in until about like 5:15 almost. So a little bit late. I'm super tired. And part of that is in the middle of the night. My wife has been working like crazy. She's got a lot of stuff going on with work, and so she's been burning the candle on both ends. Where like she'll like work during the day and try to do like family stuff like while the kids are up, but then like once the kids go to bed, or she'll hang out with the kids and then put them to bed, and then do some more work. And yesterday she didn't go to bed till like 4:30. So like she was going to bed right when I was like trying to wake up, but I was too tired. But in the meantime, at some point in the middle of the night, she like wakes me up and shakes me in, and she's like, Trump and Melania have COVID. They're positive. And I was like, oh no, that's terrible. I think that's what I literally said. So I feel like I felt good about that as I was saying it because I didn't say anything like Schadenfreude-ish about it, and I didn't say anything mean because I feel like everyone always does the thing like if someone shook you in the middle of the night and woke you up and asked you a question, like that's like the true like truth barometer. And I feel like my first response to that was one of hopefully that's empathy. So I felt good about that, but it's a terrible thing. I'm gonna assume that he's telling us the truth on that one. It's hard to tell with him sometime, and I hope that he has a very speedy recovery and that he has almost no symptoms. So that's what I hope. And then what was the other thing I was going to talk about? Oh, just the being tired, I guess. We did have get our flu shots yesterday down at the Hy-Vee at their grocery store. The pharmacy, they have drive-through flu shots. So like we went drive-through, we filled out our form, and then like you wait in the parking lot, and then a pharmacist came out. She was a nurse that came out, and she was all masked up. We were all masked up. We rolled down our windows. She gave us flu shots, and now we're good. So I don't think that's why I was super tired, but I don't think it helped either. But I had really terrible sleep though too. Like I sleep, I grind my teeth when I sleep, and so my dentist fitted me with like a mouth guard to wear when I'm sleeping, and even with the mouth guard on, today when I woke up, like my jaw really hurt because I was just grinding my teeth so hard. It was to the point where even what I ate for breakfast hurt to chew because I was just grinding teeth so hard. And I just think that I wasn't sleeping well and I was tired and I was like trying to sleep hard in a way. So I don't know what's going on, but I'm trying to get recovered. But I went for the run this morning and the knee's feeling good. So that's, or better. So that's a good thing. All right. It looks like, I didn't know this, but it looks like there's a Seth James Demore live stream going on at the same time. And I didn't know that. Sorry about that, guys. So I would try to move it if I knew that was going to happen. Yeah, not really. Hank Aaron says flu shots can affect you. I know that they can, but I suppose that's the right time frame, right? Like the several hours after I got the shot. But I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I've just been tired. I was looking back at my sleep tracking, and it's just been like not good sleep, or not like, I forget what the word is that they use in the sleep app, but like on Polar, but it's just been bad for like the last week. So I think that what I need to do, I might need to sleep on the floor. This tends to happen to me when I'm back here, and I'm surprised it hasn't happened already, is that like all the beds here are much softer than the beds that I normally, like if I were to pick one, or like a very firm bed. And I think that I just don't get really good sleep because it's too bouncy. And so like I might need to sleep on the floor the next couple of days. So, all right, let's see what else we got here. Ed Chan says, ran 15K today. Spent part of it daydreaming about you know what. What? I missed something. But that's good that you got the 15K today. That's a good distance. I haven't run that long in a while. And so I'm like itching to get like this knee feeling better. I'm feeling very optimistic right now. So we'll see how it goes. Martha says, already got an email from someone suggesting that Trump and company are faking this so they can distract from the election, avoid debate, and recover, quote unquote, to prove it's not dangerous, but I doubt it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's lots of, I mean, I'm not the only one to think that. I mean, it's hard when the guy like cries wolf all the time, but, I'm going to take him at his word for something this serious. So Meredith says she's bouncing back and forth between this live stream and the other. Totally cool. Seth's live streams are a lot of fun. Chen Zhao says, hi Kofuzi, my foot arch feels uncomfortable after switching to Mizuno Inspire from the Hoka Rincon. Was the Rincon too soft? Am I the only one? I don't know. I've not tried the Mizuno Inspire, although I do have a new Mizuno shoe in the lineup that I have to test soon. So pretty excited about that, but it's not the Inspire. But I'm not sure. Was the Rincon too soft? I don't know. I don't think it's, I wouldn't consider it a too soft shoe. All right. Stevie76 says, I need a 0 drop bed. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I need 0 drop. I just need it to be completely flat. And I'm just going to sleep on the floor. I'm just going to put like not sleeping bag, but just put some blankets down and just sleep on the floor tonight and see if maybe that kind of helps perk me up a bit. It's kind of weird, but I don't know. Like, I think that's just part of my normal like sleep routine, I guess. I need something different. All right. Ricardo Katagiri says, yo, had a 2x6K at up tempo in the SL20s. Awesome. Word of the day. And Terrell Ford says, what's up with the knee? It's just been feeling not great lately. It's it's my right knee, and it's for the first several miles I'm fine, but then usually like by mile like 4 or 5 it starts to act up and just doesn't feel great. Sometimes it feels better when it usually doesn't feel better when I'm doing a lot of downhill. Uphills are fine on it. Sometimes if I try to like change my gait a little bit, that helps. Sometimes if I try to like run taller, it helps. I've been working on glute activation. Not really sure what that means, but I'm working on like just a lot of mobility and just overall leg strength, doing a lot of leg exercises, just to make sure that there aren't any imbalances that it's causing it. I'm starting to think that it might be some sort of tendonitis, like in the knee. My current thought, and I'm just kind of flailing in the wind here a little bit, is that it might be a quad tendonitis. So like where the quad muscles insert into the kneecap. So I think that's kind of what it is. I've been doing some exercises and some massage that's directed towards that kind of ailment, and it seems to really make it feel good. I've also switched doing more like warm up type of exercises beforehand, and I'm trying to not run, just like reduce overall mileage and supplementing with a lot of cycling. So that's kind of where I'm at. Anyway, but I think it's doing better. We'll see. Mr. Wes 39 says Charleston Marathon just got canceled / is going virtual. 3 weeks into Hanson's marathon plan. I don't know if I should do virtual or not. I think that's up to you, whether you want to do the virtual or not. I'm not a huge fan of like the virtual marathon, just because it's a very long distance and it's a lot of training to do. Especially because, depending on, who you're listening to, we're just like a couple of weeks away from a vaccine. So then like other races might pop up that, or become available that you might want to train for instead. And so, but if you're already like 10 weeks later, like 7 weeks from now, if you're like 10 weeks into your Hanson's marathon plan, then it might be a little bit awkward to transition. So like, I might lean towards, going back into kind of like off-season mode and kind of chill out for a little while longer, because 3 weeks into the plan, it's not like super far in. So there's, it's not like you're at like the peak of that training plan where it's like, where you might already have built the fitness, might as well go for it. Right now, I think if you kind of backed off, it's still, you can kind of go back and jump back into it again later. So I don't know. That's a bummer. That's a bummer to hear that. Mark Chancoco says, it's possible you just need to rest. Yeah, I mean, I might just be tired. That's like all the stuff might just be that I'm tired, and the knee needs, and my tiredness might be like part of that might be like my body trying to, fix and recover whatever is going on in the knee. It's certainly possible too, but it just doesn't seem. I've been at like 2 or 3 weeks now of like significantly reduced volume. I mean, I'm in like marathon taper level of running. I've been doing a lot of cycling, but in terms of mileage on the knee, and like taking the rest day yesterday to ride a bike and then running today, that like tends to help, but it's not like really getting me further. So I don't know it's just like a rest issue. I don't think RICE, like the rest, what is it? RICE compression, whatever. I forget. I always forget the acronym. Whenever I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm RICE, of course. But I can never recite what the RICE acronym stands for. But whenever I don't think that's it. Roberto Davila says, curious to know what was so bad about your first marathon that you've spoken about in the past. There was nothing bad about it. I just wasn't really ready for it. It was a couch to marathon for me. So I decided over Memorial Day weekend in the summer, so like end of May, that I was going to run a marathon in late October. And so I had 4 months to prepare for it when I was running about 0 miles a week. So, I mean, that was kind of like the bigger part of it. And, this was at a time where I didn't even know what paces or what distances really I was running. I didn't have GPS watches. I don't think a lot of people did back in 2010. At least not a lot of people in the couch to marathon category. I didn't have a smartphone at the time, or at least not one that I would consider running with, So, I might have had an iPhone 3G at the time. I don't think I did though. So, I mean, it was just, I was just kind of running for a while and following a Hal Higdon plan and not doing any of the cross training and skipping a lot of stuff. And I didn't really know anyone that ran marathons. I just kind of like did it. My dad was doing it. So I was just like, all right, my dad's doing it. We're going to do it together. I'm going to get ready. So like, I just kind of like jumped into it in a way like that's very consistent with how I make a lot of decisions. And it just, I figured a lot out as I went, but there was still a lot of other things I could have done differently, I suppose. Chris Dyke says he finally gave in and decided to rest his knee. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that's not what I need, but we'll see. I saw a poop emoji up here. Where'd it go? There's a couple. TV76 says, one thing Seth lacks in his live stream, poop talk. Really? There's not in there? I mean, I've been to some of them, but like, he doesn't talk more about poop? It's interesting. His are definitely prettier than mine. But, you know, like many things, I make up for a lack in quality with quantity. So that's kind of my approach. Not that I'm trying to compete with it at all. Matt Frederick says, recently, whenever I've been running in my Forerunner 35, says I'm in zone 5 for heart rate, but I'm running at a fairly comfortable pace. Any reasons for this? I've been considering a heart rate chest strap. I would consider that heart rate chest strap. Because if it says you're in zone 5 for heart rate, but you're at comfortable pace, that's wrong. That doesn't make any sense for anybody. So I would consider that. Although today, it's in my pocket, I think. Today I switched over to this. Well, I've been running with this before because, like, most of the summer because I've been wearing 2 watches at the same time. So I have my chest strap over here. So this is my chest strap that I use, but I also have an armband. And today's temperatures were in the mid to low 30s. It was so cold today. I mean, relatively speaking. But I was just really, really cold for my run. And I know for me, I think I have like a little bit of a deformity, a concavity in my rib cage. So chest straps don't work very well for me in cold weather for whatever reason. So I need to have conductive gel. Like, I think it's like the same stuff they put on like the ultrasound wand, like that they squeeze out. And I put that on the electrodes, and then I can wear it, and it's usually fine. But in the wintertime, that gel is cold. So I usually like to switch over to the armband-based one. And I definitely switched over today because I'm like, I don't have any conductive gel with me now. It's not expensive, but I have like 2 giant tubes of it in Chicago. And I just didn't want to buy more tubes of it and have extra here because you're just never going to go through it all. But yeah, so I would consider the chest strap or just any sort of external heart rate monitor to help you out with that. And I think the Forerunner 35 will sync to a chest strap or external monitor. Ilya Kim says, are we talking about how Bekele ruined a weekend? JK. Yeah, that's it. That's the second thing that I want to talk about. I forgot. The 2 pieces of big news. We already talked about Trump getting coronavirus, or telling us that he got coronavirus. The other thing is Bekele. I just heard about that a couple hours ago. I was on Twitter, and like my Twitter feeds started blowing up with people that were like talking about it, and I am super bummed. I mean, I suppose like we shouldn't be too surprised that there isn't, or if there won't be more like major withdrawals. Is that what it's called? Withdrawals or withdraws? Anyway, people like not towing the starting line just because it wasn't like they did it super fast, so people had enough time to like ramp up, I suppose. But I mean, it wasn't like you knew it was coming 8 months away. But with training being what it is, depending on where you are in the world, people ramping up, I can understand a lot of people like still saying that they're very excited to go. And then, because I think they do that for like sponsor reasons and for reasons related to promoting the race. And then at the last minute, withdrawing from the race. So it's a real bummer because I think everyone wanted to see it. But it also makes you think like, well, is he really hurt? Or is he scared? I can't imagine that that's the case. Because, I mean, like, if you're Bekele, it's like all upside. If you feel like you're in good shape, it's all upside. Even if you lose, then it's still like, you know what? I'm only like how many seconds off of his world record anyway. So it's not like if he loses, it makes him not a great marathoner or not one of the best marathoners of all time. So, like, he's got nothing but upside to get in there. Even if he blows up, then he still, like, walks away with his pride, so to speak. But, like, if Elliott loses, that he has a lot more to lose there, But it'll be interesting to still watch it anyway, just because the format's so different. I mean, I remember watching the one in Doha. They started it at midnight because it was in the desert. And it was, like 7 laps? But it was like 7 laps of like it was almost like a crescent shaped course and a real tight turn, so you could see people I don't know if you could, as you were like making the turn, you could see who was behind you. I don't know if they'll be able to see people behind them as they're turning because of the nature of this course. I haven't looked at it that closely, but it's still going to be a really interesting race because of the format. I feel like it allows. I think it's going to be really, really fast, or it's going to start out super fast. Anyway, I could be wrong. Who knows? It could be one of those things where everyone sits back, lets whoever wants to like beat a world record go ahead, but the main pack stays back and hangs back, and then tries to catch up at the end. I don't know. We'll see. So there's a lot that could happen. All right. Turnaround says, "What's your favorite Minecraft block?" I don't have one. I never really got into Minecraft. I love the idea of it, but I don't know. It never appealed to me because I always just felt like if I'm spending all this time doing Minecraft, I felt like, you know what, I should just use a 3D rendering software and actually try to make art, which I've done before. I'm really bad at it, but I've tried doing that. But I just felt like that would have been a more like practical use of time. Not that like video games have to be practical, but that's kind of what I thought. Terrence Hui says, "Do you ever take a full break from running?" SJD talked about it yesterday, maybe, where he plans to take maybe 3 to 4 weeks off entirely. I know Seth does. He usually takes it off at the end of the year, and kind of coincides with the holidays, and he just takes completely off. I don't really take completely off because this is like my fun. His is like fun/work because he's elite, and I mean he was like on the U.S. team represented the United States in the climbing. What was that competition called? It was not called climbing. It's not hill climbing's not right. Like mountain running. I don't remember what it was, but like I mean he was a member of Team USA, so like this is his job too. So I mean you take a vacation from your work. You don't take a vacation from your hobbies. So like, maybe I'll take a vacation from like making videos, but I mean, that's a hobby too. So it's like, it's a little bit different, I think, for me. And I think for pros too. Like I totally understand when pros are like, that Jared Ward podcast I was listening to the other day, he was talking about how after the Olympic Trials Marathon, like they were on a cruise ship because they had planned a cruise, and then things got super intense because, they weren't like letting a lot of cruise ships dock and stuff back in March. But, that makes sense that pros would do that. But, I don't think I really need a vacation from it. I mean, I suppose, like we were talking earlier, I could use some rest, probably. But I also just like it. So, I'm not really planning on taking a rest from it. Chandana Shilpa says the question might have already been answered. Can you repeat the question? I don't think I saw what the question is that you're looking for. Oh, okay. Do you do any strength training along with math runs? I didn't at first. Correction. The first couple of weeks I did it, I did do strength training because I thought it'd be a good time to kind of do like both things at the same time, like a big rebuild, like not scrap everything, but like change up everything, low heart rate training, weight training, get in the gym, something I've been meaning to do. Then after 2 weeks, I realized that like Maffetone doesn't like strength training. Like Dr. Phil Maffetone doesn't like strength training during especially in the early phases of low heart rate training. So like I wasn't doing any of it, and then now I'm back to doing it, but I don't do anything with weights. I do everything like body weight. So it's more like stretching slash strength, so more like mobility, and I'm working more just on balance and making sure that all like the ancillary muscles are every muscle is doing its job as it's supposed to when I'm running. That's like my biggest concern. I'm not really worried about getting more strength. If I wanted more strength, I think I would probably do more cycling up big hills or run up big hills. So that's kind of like my philosophy for it now, or do more like hill sprints or just general strides and sprints for strength. I might get to a point where I'm doing more plyometrics in terms of like jumping type of things. I'm starting to think about some of those now for what I think my knee injury / ailment is, but for the most part, I'm just not doing a lot of strength training, but I am doing a lot of like exercises for my legs, if that makes sense. All right. Daniel Raskolnikov asks, I think I said that right the first time. Raskolnikov. Sorry, I hope I said it right the second time. So, do you know what the average shelf life of unused shoes? I would say probably about 2 or 3 years, depending on how well they're stored. Because if they go through a lot like wild temperature swings, like if you left them in like a garage, then in like the summertime they're real hot and in the winter they're real cold, I think it'd be less. But I mean, I don't know. It's like, it's hard to think of that like, because I just wouldn't, like if someone was like, hey, here's a pair of Peg 30, like one of my favorite shoes ever is like Peg 33 Shield. If someone today was like, here's a pair of Peg 33 Shields, you want to run in them all winter? I mean, I'd buy the shoe off of them just to have it because I love the color of it too, and I'd wear it casually. But I don't know that I would run in it just because it's a 4-year-old shoe. And even if they're like, yep, it was in a temperature-controlled like storage unit for the last 4 years, here you go. I don't know that I would want to run in that. But on the other hand, like intuitively, I'm like, this is a material that doesn't biodegrade for like 50,000 years. It probably should be fine, right? But I don't know. I would think maybe it also depends on what else is in there, like the Peg 33 Shield example. There's Zoom Air pockets. I don't know how long those last. I don't think that they last very long. So, in like the biodegrading sense of the word, So I don't know, but I don't know. It's a good question. All right. Martha says, today I realized that Boston postponed 2021 registration because they may delay the race date. And therefore, if it's any time after her birthday, she'll be in another age division. Ooh, yeah. I mean, I was thinking about that too. I think I mentioned it the other day while I was running. I was like, when do I have to re-register or try to or resubmit a time? But then I was like, yeah, are they even going to have a race in April? It seems kind of soon. I mean, I don't think... Again, depending on who you believe, either everyone will have a vaccine by then or no one will have vaccines by next April. So I don't know. Yeah, that would be interesting. I'm still going to be in the same age group for either one, no matter when it is. But that'd be interesting, Martha. Someone said something about Couch to Marathon. Where'd it go? Oh, Frank LaHillier. The World Mountain Championship. That's what Seth ran in, the World Mountain Championship. That was pretty awesome. That was a pretty cool video. That video that he made when he was just running with everyone else on the team and like just following him around with cameras made me think a lot about Spencer Brown, the athlete special. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him or follow him, but he has a much younger demographic because he's a lot younger. But he just signed with Brooks as like a pro who... like legitimately a pro, but a pro who has like a really big YouTube following. And I was listening to a podcast interview with him recently, and he was like, I just don't want to be like the guy who's there that's going to shove like a camera in everyone's face. But I'm like, but that's kind of why you're there. So like, you got to get over that, I think. So, but that was an interesting set of videos that Seth had. It was like super wild. I was just like, this is a different world that he's in. I mean, he literally was. He was in the Southern Hemisphere, but yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah?
Guess what Grandma bought me?
What did she get you?
ABC mouse books.
What?
See?
Cool. Those are awesome.
See that?
Very cool. You want to show the camera what you got? Yeah, shapes. Yeah. And then what's the other one? Phonics. Cool. All right, you ready to do work? Mm-hmm. You want to do work after this, or what are you going to do?
I'm planning to do this book on Earth.
Okay, all right. I'll come down and see you in a minute.
I'm going to work on one page.
All right, go for it. Did you say thank you to Grandma?
Yep, I did.
Okay.
I did before I went back outside.
All right, good. All right.
Helping Mommy bring in all the shoes.
Okay, all right.
I
Yeah.
lined them up outside.
Grandma and Grandpa had to go into Dubuque today to get more paint. They're painting the basement, and I guess they picked up other stuff while they were down there. So sorry about the interruption, but I think she just likes being on camera, so she loves having a reason to pop up here. Yeah. Meredith Roseman says, how are you going to watch the race Sunday? What are you streaming it through? Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I don't think I'm going to watch it live. I think I'm going to wake up and watch it. And what I've been able to, I have Comcast. And so through the Xfinity app, I can set my DVR to record it and then I can watch the recording on my phone or on an iPad or whatever. So I think that's how I'm going to watch it, because you don't have NBC Sports here. I think I might be able to watch a live stream of NBC Sports on Comcast through the web using my Comcast login account. So I think that's how I'm going to do it. I don't know how people would do it if they don't have like a cable subscription. So that's the thing. Yeah. Mark Chang Coco says, this chat is my new version of socializing. I mean, the whole live stream is for me. Yeah, it's like it's my connection with like people that are outside of my family. Other than that, I'm not talking to anybody. So, thank you. I'm really appreciating it, I gotta tell you. Chris Yao says, anyone else following Camille Herron's attempt at the 40-hour record? 43 miles in right now and almost 5 hours of running. 1 mile USATF certified loop. I didn't know that it was a 1 mile loop. I thought she was doing it on a track. So I was aware that she was doing it. I also didn't realize that Camille Herron was a Nike Trail sponsored athlete. I didn't know that for some reason. For some reason, I just didn't think she was. But from the pictures I saw of it, like over the past couple of days, obviously she is. Yeah, it's super cool. Super cool. She's a great runner. Mr. Random says, hey, has anybody had problems connecting their GoPro to the Windows 10 computer? I haven't, but I don't usually connect my GoPros to the computer, ever. I just pop the micro SD card out, and then I'll use a micro SD card reader to get the footage onto my laptop. So that's usually how I deal with it. Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. Sean Marshall's here, says, everybody, how we doing? We're doing great, Sean. Thanks for coming in. Soul Brother says, the hat game strong. Thanks. The hair is just out of control. I was thinking today, the hair's out of control, so I need a hat. I was like, I keep thinking that at some point it's getting long enough that like this can serve as like a barrette almost, or like a hair thingy, and kind of keep it all back, but it's not doing a job at that. I think there's too much space. Like right here, the hair just flops in my face. But one thing that I was thinking this morning with how cold it is, like I'm really looking forward to like knit cap weather. That's like my favorite kind. And then just like I ran with a buff today, but I kept it. It was warm enough that I was able to just wear it around my neck and not on my face. But like I just really enjoy like neck gaiter up above the nose, winter cap on, and just run like that. I'm getting very excited for this colder weather. As much as it's cold, and I did complain about the cold a little bit earlier. This is my running weather, so I'm pretty excited about it. All right, let's see. Remy says, bike is all clean and ready for action tomorrow morning. I think I'm gonna be hitting the bike tomorrow too. I think I'm gonna do a little bit of run bike. I like run bike better than bike run. Although, if I bike run, then I could be on the bike when it's really dark out, and then I can run when it's lighter out. And I'd rather do that. But my legs prefer run bike. So I know that's like not the normal way to do it. But I mean, I'm not training for a triathlon. I'm just having fun. So my bike's always ready because I don't know how to prepare it. So it's like, it's still there. It still exists. So I'm ready. I think I do need some more air in the back tire and maybe the front tire tomorrow. So maybe I'll do that. Yeah, J. Mark Remy says, YouTube TV has all the sports. What is that? FX. FX is the one that said, FX has all the something. Is it sports? I don't know. But Remy says it has running, cycling, F1, all the good stuff. Is there F1 on there? I used to watch F1 a lot before I met my wife. And it would be my favorite, like, it was on in the mornings on the weekend, and I would just usually be a bit like, hungover from the weekend's activities. I was a younger man then, and I would have it on and watch it / like nap on the couch with it on. Something about like the buzzing of the F1 cars was just really soothing for me. It's like a screaming, screeching sound, but like the constant hum of it was just really nice to like kind of fall asleep and take a nap on the couch. So I don't know. Then I met my wife, and I didn't stop watching F1 right when I met my wife. I think I probably stopped before then, but I don't really watch it that much anymore. but it's a sport that I do find incredibly exciting. I would love to go see a race. Ricardo Madero says, can't find New Balance 5280s or Nike Next Percent. I'm really surprised. I'm not so surprised about the 5280 because I feel like everybody loves that shoe. But the Next Percent, I'm really surprised that it's like selling out because as much as I've seen like a lot of good hype around it, I've seen a lot of really negative reviews on it. So I'm just super surprised about that. M. Grunner says, plans for Halloween? Well, we're not going to be trick-or-treating, even though I think every town around here has like said that they're going to have trick-or-treating, but that's not inconsistent. That's consistent with the way they treat public events around here. So I think what we're going to do is we bought costumes. We love Halloween. I love getting dressed up. And we're going to basically have like a Halloween party at our house for us. And one of the things we're doing is we're trying to find, I don't know if my wife found any, but we're trying to find like, we're doing an Easter egg hunt, but with Halloween. And we're trying to find like pumpkins that have like that clamshell thing and then put inside their little like tokens and then have like not either candies or if depending on the size of them, candies or like little like tokens or tickets so they can have like some like Halloween themed like toys and stuff for the kids to have. So make it a little bit more fun. And that's pretty much it. That's kind of like what our plans are for Halloween. Remy's doing 112 miles on the bike tomorrow. It's 2020 Ride for Food virtual. That's awesome. That's cool. Have fun with that. Spence Ohms says, it got cold as heck here. Got any cold weather running gear video planned soon? Really looking for pant recommendations. Yeah, I think that I'm going to do like the fall weather running essentials video. So that'll be coming up. Although like if the temperatures are in the 30s like they were here, it's more like wintry, but like at least it gives me some footage to play around with. So I think that video will probably appear some point next week. But in the meantime, what I like for fall is like tights with shorts on top or just full length tights. The kind that like you can just run in by themselves. And so to preview like what'll be on the list, there's a pair from Roadrunner Sports that I love. And they're the full-length version of the half-tight that I love to race in. But that one has the same great pockets. So you can like load them up, phone, gels, all sorts of stuff, and everything just fits. So I like those. And then I do lots of like I do a variety of cheaper tights for like off Amazon. Pretty much anything with a camo print on it. That's what I'll pick. I love it. I like gray camo, like gray and black camo. Yeah, that's kind of my jam. So those are some things that'll be in there. So just it takes some time to order stuff, so I want to make sure you get an answer to that. Chris Yao says MotoGP though is where it's at. There was a motorcycle like a tour, like a tourism tour that I really wanted to do at some point, and it just never worked out. And I basically now these days I want like a running version of it, but here's how like this tour went. It was something where you would fly to like Italy, and when you got there, you would get on like everyone in the tour group, you'd get on some Ducatis, and then you'd ride anywhere between like 50 and 200 miles a day, and stay at a different castle. I think it was Italy. I forget where it was exactly. And then it would end in Spain for Barcelona, Madrid, for a MotoGP race there, and that's where it would end. So like you got there, they gave you a bike, and then you rode it to somewhere else, stopping at castles like each night, and then it ended, and you gave the bike back at a race. And I was like, that sounds like a dream vacation. But I probably wasn't skilled enough to ride a Ducati at the time or ever, and certainly not for like 1,000 miles. So I don't know that I could have done that, but I would love to have like a running version of that. Like imagine if there's like a running, but like, what event would be there at the end? I mean, I guess you could go, you would run. I mean, it'd be cool. Like if they did something where you ran for several days before watching like UTMB, that'd be kind of cool. So instead of like, me competing in UTMB, I could over like 5 days do the course, that'd be kind of fun. I'm not sure exactly how that would work, but those are the kind of adventures that I'm really like looking for in my mind in terms of like what's next in terms of people are talking about, are races going to still be a thing? I hope that they will. I think they'll be bigger than ever, but I'm also looking for like other bigger adventures. Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. Jody says it's 30 degrees Celsius here, and I can feel it starting to warm up. Yeah, that's hot. That's hot, Jody. Remy says lots of cycling adventures exactly like that, Kofuzi. Just saying. Well, I mean, I could go for that. I mean, the first thing that I want to do, and we were going to do it this year, I was going to do it with Doozer. We were going to do Ragbri across Iowa. And so, like, that's probably going to be my first cycling adventure. I don't know. It's like a week of riding, and you ride across the state. You dip your back tires in, I forget what river, on the west side of the state, and then you dip your front tire in the Mississippi once you get to the other side of the state. So that's like something that would be fun. And there's lots of pie involved. Every stop, there's people make pies, and you buy them, and you're buying them from like local people. I really wanted to do that. My brothers-in-law have done it several times, or parts of it, and they've spoken very highly of it. One of my wife's cousin-in-law, her cousin's, no, it's her cousin. Her cousin, he lives up in Minneapolis, but he comes back down, and he's done it with a bunch of friends like every year for like the past like probably almost a decade at this point. But yeah, that's probably the step one. And then, who knows? We'll go from there. Yeah. All right. Jonah Bizgould Menendian says, ever planning on coming to Toronto? Scotiabank Toronto Waterfront Marathon is such a nice course. I definitely want to go to Toronto. I was at a wedding of a college friend in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and some of the other guests at our table were two people from Toronto. And they're like, where are you guys from? And we're like, we're from Chicago. And they're like, you guys should come visit Toronto. It's it's exactly like Chicago, but it's in Canada. And I'm like, sounds good to me, and especially now. Like, my wife and I have been planning like a Toronto like no kids vacation for a long time. It's just, people in the United States can't even go to Canada right now. So it's on the back burner again. But yeah, I really do want to go to Toronto. Whoa. Martha says, I just got a notice from our HOA that a bear family was hanging out all night around our complex. What? That's amazing. That's crazy. I wonder if there's like security camera footage of the bears. Insane. One of my buddies, they have a cabin, I think, somewhere up in like Tahoe, and he would like text me pictures of this bear, and I'm like, oh, those are cool pictures of bears off the internet. He's like, no. This bear's trying to get in the house. And I'm like, what? And apparently they've got a bear that tries to get in their house from time to time. And like, not just at night. Like one time it was like during the day. And I'm just like, huh, what? How, like, who do you call when that happens? And he's like, oh, you just kind of let it go. The bear gives up after a while and just goes off. And I'm like, okay, if you say so. But that's crazy. Very crazy bears. When I did the Ragnar relay last year, up in the Tetons, and you fly into Jackson Hole, and there's a thing for bear spray rentals, and I'm like, what the heck is that? And I didn't even know what it was. And then I got to it was at like a ski resort. I forget the name of it. And we're there, and people are like, oh, you're from Chicago? I'm like, yeah, this is my first time up in this area. I'm really not much of an outdoorsman or a camper or a skier, and I'm not very familiar with hills. And they're like, okay, did you bring your bear spray? And I'm like, ha, 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 because I didn't know if it was a joke or not. I thought it was like a tourist's joke, but it was real. And there were bears sighted along the routes in the middle of the night. So I'm a little bit intimidated by bears. Sean Marshall says, Mike, did I miss you name drop your trucker hat? Still want to know where you got that. It was a gift. It's from Unived. So I don't know the brand name of it. There's no like tags on it. But Unived sent it to me. So and it's pretty comfortable. It's nice. It's very, very soft. So I've been enjoying it. So sorry I don't know the name of it, but it is very comfortable. Jennifer Herring says, I'm doing 482 miles over 3 months virtual run. New Jersey Art 1 and 9 Fall Tour on Run Sign Up. Very cool. Good luck to you, Jennifer, on that one. Awesome. Oh, Martha says the bears were caught on camera. Awesome. Joanna Bisgoldman Indian says, when you come to Toronto, let us know. I for sure will. I would love to be able to get a group run together when we go up to Toronto. I feel like my wife would allow us on a no kids weekend. She would allow for me to get away for a little bit to go for a run. I think we'd be okay on that. I mean, I don't want to speak for her. So, like, hopefully that would... If it doesn't work out the first time, then I'll come back up a second time. I'm really looking forward to a lot of travel once that becomes a thing again. So... yeah. Danny J says the bears know where the good snacks are. So long as they don't break in and eat my falafel, we're good. They don't have to forcibly remove the bear. I hope they don't either. I don't remember what they did with the bear at my buddy's place. I don't know. I have to follow up on that one. Let's see. Chris says those bears were looking for stroop waffles and honey stingers. They knew that runners lived there. That's funny. Do you think bears know about stroop waffle and honey stingers? That's interesting. Danny J says, hopefully the footage of the bears goes viral and Aussie Man reviews it. That'd be funny. That'd be so funny. I've been getting fed so much of the Aussie Man reviews on YouTube that I'm kind of like, all right, I need a break from it a little bit, but I still just really enjoy Aussie Man reviews. Like the pace of it, it's like just unrelenting. And so, it's just, I feel like that is what I feel like his like narration is what all of my friends who have ADD like are hearing in their heads all the time, like in no matter what situation is. So I feel like I can have more empathy for people that have ADD, that like there's just a lot of like noise happening all the time. I don't know if that's a bad way to understand ADD, but I feel like, okay, I understand that you got a lot of stuff going on and it's hard to focus. JRAM090 says, Hola Kofuzi, question. What BPM over Maffetone training do you recommend running a half marathon and a full? I think that it's a pretty personal, like it varies by person. And so that's why it's hard. That's why I don't think that anyone has like there's no chart for it. But for me, I've been trying to run my marathons at 20 beats per minute over Maffetone. And I think that's a little bit too hot. I think I need to get to 15 for a marathon. A half marathon, I think that I can do at maybe like 10 to 15, more like 10 over, which seems a little bit low. It's probably in the, no, it would have to be higher than 15. So about, is it 20? Not quite 20. 20 seems high, but I think maybe that's what it is. Who was I listening to? Someone was sorry, I'm getting the numbers all confused. For a marathon, my next marathon, I'll probably do 15 over MAF. I've been running 20 over MAF, but I think that's a little bit hot. I think that for half marathon, I can do 20 over MAF. And that I think is probably a good spot, if not a little bit hotter than that. But someone I was listening to that talks about running Maffetone for super long distances, not that I know, it was someone that I listened to, like a Florence Gearman podcast, was saying that she decreases 5 or increases 5 for every like distance. So like for her, from her marathon to her 50K, she like went down 5 beats per minute. And from her 50K to 50 miles, she went down another 5 beats per minute. So that's kind of like how you would do it. So I think if I go for marathon and then 5 beats per minute faster for my half marathon, that's probably about right. Although I think you could probably get away with a little bit faster. Martha said, someone here had a bear figure out how to break a chain and padlock on a freezer they had outdoors. It ate lots of frozen pies. That's amazing. Because can you even smell a frozen pie? Can the bear smell that? I mean, they have good senses of smell, but like being able to smell a frozen thing inside a locked other thing that is temperature sealed, that's pretty insane. Maybe it, but do you think it watched and saw people, like people are putting food in that thing? I want to figure out what that is. Or they were just curious. They were like, there might be sewage in there, there might be food, but either way, I'm going to open it up and see. Like, I wonder, I just want to know, what does the bear think? Oh, man. Recycle on Wednesday says, I missed the first part of what you were saying. My ADHD brain is definitely busy. It sounded like a good description to me. That's so funny. Oh. Chris Yao says, if a bear poops in a cornfield, does Kofuzi sense it? No, I don't. I only have my own poop sense. I'm not connected that way with other beings' poop. Yeah. Martha says, oh yeah, they can smell that. They can smell like frozen pies inside a freezer. That's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, I guess that makes sense why people are like, if you got food anywhere on your campsite, you got to elevate that so the bears don't get it. Danny J says, a polar bear can smell a seal cub that's multiple feet below the ice. That's a polar bear, but I'm sure there's a sniffer crossover. Yeah, that's pretty insane. I love watching nature documentaries, and I feel like generally that's like a thing that you can kind of like put on with the kids around, and then you could be like, oh look, a polar bear. Watch that for like a minute. Let's learn about bears. And sometimes you get their attention, sometimes you don't. But then inevitably it gets to the part where they have to eat, or they're trying to eat, because I mean that's what a bear does. It tries to eat, and so then they're like. The kids are always like, oh, so it's going to eat that seal? And I'm like, it's trying to. And they're like, well, I don't think the seal wants to get eaten. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it doesn't want to get eaten. And so like we've had a lot of discussions, like having watched Lion King was really helpful, because we were like, well, it's circle of life. Like the other day we were hiking and the baby was really sad that trees fell over. And she's like, Daddy, why did that tree fall over? I'm like, it probably either died because it was old, and then it fell over because it wasn't living anymore, or maybe the wind blew it over. And she was really like upset about it. She's like, but then the tree is gone. I'm like, no. It's still there. See, there's like stuff growing out of that tree. And I was like, in the forest, dead things, everything becomes food for something else. Everything has a part and a place. And she was like, okay. I'm like, see all those plants? They're growing from that dead tree. If that tree didn't die, those plants wouldn't be there. And I think she understood that, but I think she was also like in her head, she's probably like, but I would have rather had a tree. So I've been trying to like to explain that, I guess, but I don't know how much they're really getting. I don't know. Ryan Bradley says, can a bear smell plant-based shoes? That would make him run faster. I think they could definitely smell, if they could smell a frozen pie inside a freezer outside, I bet you they could smell like regular shoes too. Yeah. Sean Marshall asked, does a bear poop in the corn? I don't know. Where do bears poop? I mean, I think they just kind of poop wherever. Do they have like spots like in their territory? Do they have places that they like to go for that, or is it just kind of like, oh, I gotta go now? There look like a spot. I feel like it's probably like the latter. Sean Marshall says that bear Shawshanked a frozen pie in the cornfield while finishing the weird mile. Oh, that's funny. Martha says, I can tell you bears poop any old place. I see their poop on my usual trail. Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know if like they would tend to sequester it, but I think they also probably have a wide territory, so they could probably just go wherever. But that would scare me to see bear poop regularly out there. I mean, what's scarier? Like bear poop or knowing that like snakes are around? Like, I think that snakes are scarier to me because I feel like bears, I don't know, they're easier to see, I think. And I also feel like they probably don't want to be around people a lot. Snakes, I just feel like they're around people a lot, and if you accidentally step on one, it's going to snap back at you. That's kind of that's my take on it. That being said, I've not seen very many snakes or bears ever, so I guess I can't say from experience. Meredith Roseman. On today's live stream, Burning Questions with Go, where do bears poop? That's true. Danny J says, whenever I would ask my uncle an obvious question, he would say, does a bear poop in the woods or on the road? Uncles say weird things. Yeah. That's funny. Chris Yas says, we should ask Leonardo DiCaprio, the bear expert, after The Revenant. Yeah. I still haven't seen that one. I just don't get to see a lot of movies. And Martha says bears are rarely seen during the daytime. Stevie76 wonders if there are snakes in cornfields. There probably are. Because there's mice in cornfields. So I would imagine that there's snakes in cornfields. But I'm not really aware of like farmers like saying, well, you gotta watch out for the snakes out there. I don't know. Oh, Ryan Polly says, it's scat. We call it scat when referencing bear poop. Good to know. Thanks. I will keep that in mind. Angel or Angel Claudio says, what is your current favorite running training book? I'm currently using Hiding Run Faster book. Thought on this or any other good books? I'm not familiar with that, or if that's a typo for Hansen. But I like Jack Daniels' book, although I think that his ideas on periodization are not as popular anymore. Fitzinger is also a good one, like Pfitzinger is a good book as well. I also like 80/20 by I'm drawing a blank on Matt something. Is it Fitzgerald? Yeah, Matt Fitzgerald. I like that book as well. It's not as much a training manual as it is more of like a training philosophy book with some training talk in it. But that's another one that I would look at. Right. Yeah, Jody says most snakes will slither away and only bite if no escape route. Yeah, I think that like for me though, like if the way that I'm scared of a snake is that like if I'm running at like dawn, and they're still like on the trail or near the trail and I accidentally step on it, like I feel like if you like stepped on it, it would just come back and get you. That's what I'm like petrified of when I run. Like whenever I run in Arizona, terrified that that's gonna happen, or that like I'm gonna get somewhere and like be like getting ready, like standing on like at the beginning of a trail, getting ready, like waiting for my GPS to like sync up, and then like a scorpion will like crawl onto my foot and then just hang out for a little while happily for like 45 minutes, and then whoosh, like the pincer will come out and get me. That's how my mind works. That's what I'm scared of. I don't even know if scorpions exist in Phoenix area, Arizona, but I'm terrified that they will, and just like piggyback for a little while, and then when they feel like it, strike. JC says bears are scarier. I've jumped over a snake on a paved trail before. Some ladies warned me of it right before I saw it. Yeah, I suppose one could not jump over a bear if you were like to come across one on the trail. Can you imagine that though? If like that was like the guidance, like you gotta get ready to run over it and jump over it like you're like a wide receiver after a catch and someone's trying to tackle you and you try to do the jump over. Like that's how you gotta approach a bear. Like imagine if that was like the recommendation. That'd be pretty insane. I was listening to, it was Rich Roll podcast, and he was talking to Andy something. They do like a regular segment, and they were talking about how with sharks, you're supposed to swim towards them if you see one in the water, because they're apex predators. They're not used to they're used to everything running away from them, and so when you swim towards them, it freaks them out. And I was like, that doesn't seem right. I mean, I hope I never have to test that theory, but like, imagine if that's what you had to do with a bear. Like, charge at it as fast as you can. Carrie S says, Kofuzi, how can I break 20 minutes in a 5K? My answer will probably be to run more and run slow, like run a lot of slower miles just to get mileage up, because 5K is like an endurance sprint is how I like to think of it. And so you're probably fast enough to run the 5K, but you probably can't maintain that speed for long enough to run 5K. And so I would work on some mileage. And then one workout that I do like to do with the 5K, I don't know if it's a sensible workout or not, but mathematically, in my mind, it makes sense, is I like to do 6 by 800. And although that's 5 by 800 with 1,000 meters as the sixth rep. And I run that at 5K pace, just so that I get really used to what that 5K pace is. And I keep the rest pretty long, because the idea is to be able to run 5K at 5K pace, but you're doing it 800 meters at a time. And so I usually walk kind of like 50 meters around the curve of the track and then back. And then by then I'm pretty much rested up, and then I do the next one. And so I do that workout. I've done that workout like a couple times trying to get ready for 5Ks. I feel like it works for me. It gets you very used to running at that pace. And then supplement that with more runs at easy pace to build up that aerobic base. JMoney8811 says, have you seen the Skechers Go Run Razor Elite? Which one is that? That's not the red one, right? It's like red and brown, and I'm trying to tell you guys colors, but I can't tell colors. That's the Razor Plus, though, isn't it? There's a carbon version of that. Isn't that what the Razor Elite? Skechers, their names driving me insane. I'm trying to figure out which one that is, but I think I know which one you're talking about. If it's the carbon plated one, I haven't seen it. But if it's just the newer one, that's like fall colors, like burnt orange and gray and like navy, I've seen that one. I think that looks great, but I'm not sure if that's which one we're talking about. MV says, hey Kofuzi, for the past 6 months, I've been only running inside my apartment on the treadmill. I just saw your running in mask video and found it very helpful. Just curious, are you still running in masks? Yes and no. I was in Chicago when I made that video, and so if I were still in Chicago right now, I'd be running in a mask all day, every day, or like all run every day. Here I'm in Iowa, where we've been kind of weathering the storm out here. The population out here is 600, and I very rarely see people. I see more deer than I see people. I see a lot more cows than I see people. And whenever I do see people out here, I can usually easily socially distance. So I haven't been running with a mask. There are times when I'll run on the trails around here, like the recreational trails, not like wooded trails, but even on the wooded trails too, I'll bring a mask with me. So if a person's coming, I'll put one on. There's not a lot of people around here that are wearing masks while exercising, although among the bicycling community, there's some people. There aren't a lot of other runners that I've seen around here, and they're not usually wearing masks. High school cross-country season is still in full swing around here, and yesterday we were driving by as we were going to get our flu shots, and not a mask in sight. So there's that. But that's what people around here are doing. But for me, I bring a mask with me if it's going to be an area where I won't be able to social distance. So I'm still doing it. Yes. And Jody says, sending him something about snakes, and it just moved. He says, it's amazing we have, Jody's in Australia, says, it's amazing we have the most poisonous snakes in the world and not worried. But bears terrify me even though we don't have them, except koala bears. They are much better to come across. I mean, maybe it's because, like, I think in Australia, maybe you grow up with them, or like with the idea of those snakes, even though they're very poisonous. But like bears, I guess, if you don't have them, I think that they're terrifying too. Radoin Slimani says, and now this will be the last one for today because we've been late, says, do you still run by power or more by heart rate? I've never solely trained on power before. I right now am using power to do like intervals. So I'm using that number rather than my heart rate to train by. So I'm kind of using both. But for my easy runs, it's pretty much purely heart rate. For most of my runs, it's heart rate. But if I'm doing something where there's intervals where I need to do something at a specific level of exertion for a specific amount of time, then I've been looking at power much more for that. And I've been looking at my power numbers just overall just a little bit more lately, just to kind of investigate that world a little bit. All right. Last thing, Ben Y says the Razor Elite is a new carbon-plated racer, 5.2 ounces, 148 grams. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. I'll have to go check that out. All All right, guys, it's been a lot of fun. Time flew by. We went an hour today. Awesome. The video that I was going to make for today, that'll come out tomorrow, and then we'll do another live stream in the afternoon, 3 p.m., same time, same place. In the meantime, be safe, everybody. Thanks.